Namaskar. Hope this finds all of you in good health. Please do stay safe. आज हम फिर आपके पास लेके आए हैं फॉर सीकर्स ऑफ गॉड यानी कि शिवानंद वानी, महापुरुष महाराज शिवानंद जी की spiritual talks. So we will see what we are going to do today. We all hope that you are enjoying these episodes. Please do comment and let us know how you find the episodes. So today we are going to do Mantra received in dream confirmed at initiation by Mahapurushji. The Lord is the Guru. Take refuge in Him. How to live in the world. Reception of mantra by ripe soul. The illumined Guru and his powers. Place is again Belur Math. Time May 1923. A devotee from Sindh was initiated today by Mahapurushji. The devotee had received a mantra in his dream while at home, but as he could not understand what it all meant, his mind had become extremely restless since receiving the mantra. So he wrote to Mahapurushji explaining his predicament and begged for an interview. When permission was granted, he hurried from that distant place to Belur Math to be at the feet of Mahapurushji. It was about 10 o'clock in the morning. Mahapurushji washed himself with Ganga water, put on a piece of new cloth, and entered the shrine where he initiated the devotee after worshipping Sri Ramakrishna duly. After this, as he returned from the shrine to his own room over the connecting terrace, one could notice a divine aura on his face. Instead of sitting on the chair in his room as usual, he moved about with a tottering gait under divine emotion, clapping his hands as he sang. When one is blessed by a true guru, one is taught how to discriminate between right and wrong and what true knowledge is. For them alone does coal get rid of its blackness when fire enters it. It is impossible to express that divine absorption of his human words. His eyes were only half open. His mind seemed to have wandered to some supersensuous plane, and he moved about in the room singing those two lines alone. His face was flushed, and he seemed to open his eyes with great effort just to take a glimpse of Sri Ramakrishna in the picture which was on the western wall. He had no consciousness of the world around. His naturally sweet voice sounded still sweeter, being mellowed by his inner feeling. It fell like nectar. Thus it went on for a long while, till at last he sat down in his chair almost unwittingly and remained there with his eyes closed. Only now and then these words issued from indistinctively from the bottom of his heart. Victory to the Lord, refuge of the afflicted, gracious Lord, victory to the Mother. The initiated disciple had been meditating so long on the veranda of the shrine according to Mahapurushji's instructions. He now came to his room, prostrated himself with great devotion at Mahapurushji's feet, and then, taking his seat on the floor, said with folded hands and tearful eyes, "Your grace has brought peace to my mind today. I had no peace of mind from the day that I got the mantra in the dream. I could never make up my mind calm. I was almost losing my balance. After receiving that very same mantra from you today, I am convinced that whatever I saw in my dream is true, and the person who blessed me in the dream is none other than yourself, Mahapurushji. It is the Lord Himself who appeared in the dream, just because He was merciful to you. It is the Lord Himself who blessed you today in another form. He is merciful. He is the ocean of unreasoned compassion. I am a mere slave of His. He is the only dispenser of mercy. The Lord alone can confer mercy on others. This is all that I know. The scriptures also say that when a true teacher initiates a disciple, the Lord reveals Himself in the heart of that teacher, and from there He inspires the disciples. The Lord Himself is the real Guru. Man can never be the Guru. This is very important. The man can never be a Guru. It is owing to merit you have earned your past lives that you are able today to take refuge at His feet. The Lord who saves all souls, He is all in all. Today, I dedicate you to His feet. I offer you at His feet. From today onwards, the Lord has accepted the entire charge of you here and hereafter. The disciple, Maharaj, I cannot see the Lord. I only know that you have blessed me. Mahapurushi, you may feel that way about it, but I know that it is the Master, Sri Ramakrishna, who has shown his grace to you today. From today, you have become his. From now on, cling to him all the more firmly. Try to see him within and outside yourself. Always believe that he is your nearest and dearest one. This world, after all, is transient. Father, mother, wife, son, daughter, relatives, all these are mere illusionary relations and last for a few days only. But the relationship that we have with the Master lasts forever. It is not destroyed with the death of his body. The invaluable seed that is sown in your heart today will sprout and grow day by day when watered by love and devotion, and it will gradually develop into a huge tree of ambrosia, making your whole life a blessing and bringing you all the fourfold end of human life. What is those fourfolds? Spirituality, virtuousness, prosperity, and enjoyment. All your desires will be fulfilled. The disciple, I am an erring human being, lost in many bondages of the world. Kindly bless me that I may not forget your gracious feet through worldly delusion. Please tell me, how should I live in the world, and give me some guidance so that I may not sink in worldliness for good. You must save this lowly one by all means. With these words, he caught hold of Mahapurushji's feet while tears were dropping from his eyes. Mahapurushji was visibly moved by his earnest entreaty. With a voice full of love and emotion, he said, I have already told you, my son, that I have offered you at the feet of the Master, who has accepted you and taken up your responsibility. It is precisely because he would accept you that he inspired you to come here. Today you are born to a new life. If the Master is true, then what we say is also true. Take refuge in his take refuge in him, heart and soul. Throw all your responsibilities on him and go on calling on him with earnest humility. That is all that is needed. You have nothing more to do. He will take care of you under all circumstances. As for your desire to know how you should live in the world, that you can learn from the teachings of Sri Ramakrishna himself. You must perform all your duties, but you must keep your mind fixed on the Lord. It is just like a maidservant in a rich man's house who does all her work but whose mind is in her own home in the country. Similarly, one should live in the world without any attachments. You must serve all the members of your family, wife, children, other relatives, but you must know in your innermost being that God alone is your nearest and dearest. Apart from Him, there is none whom you can really call your own. That does not mean, however, that you must neglect your family. You must serve them to the best of your capacity, considering them to be the children of God, or to be so many parts of God Himself entrusted to your care. You must talk with them about God and try to instill in their minds a true love for God. You may be in the world, but your mind must not be tied to it. The Master used to say, it is very necessary to have discrimination, to consider that the world is God alone. God alone is real and eternal. What can money give you? It can give you food, clothing, and habitation. That is all. It cannot lead you to God. So, money can never be the goal of life. Considering things like this is called discrimination. Do not cherish in your mind too much of worldly ambition. You have already provided for the bare necessities of life. Be content with them. The mind has a natural tendency towards the low and the vulgar, towards lust and greed, and towards name and fame. The task of the aspirant is to gather together that scattered mind and fix it on the lotus feet of the Lord. The highest ambition in life should be the realization of God. Keep that ambition ever awake in the mind and try heart and soul to reach that goal. As he was speaking thus, the bell rang for the partake of prasad, and Mahapurushji asked the disciple to go and have the prasad. A little later, an attendant brought prasad for Mahapurushji. He sat for his meal, but from the moment he had come from the shrine that day, he seemed to be in a state of effulgence. His mind was indrawn, his eyes were half closed, and he hardly paid any attention to what he was eating. He just put a few morsels into his mouth as a matter of habit, thinking that some conversation might bring his mind down to the food. The attendant broke silence with the word, Maharaj, you had to spend quite a long time in the shrine today for the initiation. Mahapurushji startled, as though from sleep, and said, Ah, yes, the man is really very devoted. The Master has bestowed his special grace on him, or else one does not have so much of devotion. One can well know the potentiality of a disciple at the time of initiation. Those who are of high spiritual caliber become spiritually overpowered as soon as they receive the mantra, and there appear such signs as shedding of tears, shaking of the body, standing of the hair on end, and so on. One's power of Kundalini is aroused, and one easily gets merged in deep meditation. I noticed this disciple to be of that kind. No sooner did he hear the mantra than his body began to shake. His hair stood on end, and gradually he lost himself in meditation. And what tears of love he shed! Streams of tears rolled down from the corners of his eyes, and they delighted me very much. It makes one very happy to initiate a real devotee, and the imparting of the mantra becomes fruitful. Anyone whose time for receiving the mantra is ripe has the lotus of his heart enfolded. So, he's saying anyone whose time for receiving the mantra is ripe has the lotus of his heart opened, as it were, to accept it. And as soon as he gets it, his heart enfolds it with the greatest care. All this while, I was thinking of the grace of the Master and nothing else. Ah, in how many ways and how many people he is blessing. Nobody can keep count of the innumerable persons receiving his grace here and in other countries. Glory to the Lord. The attendant. But Maharaj, not all people have that kind of elation at the time of initiation. Will not those also who do not have this kind of fervor profit by your blessings and progress in the path of spiritual attainment? Mahapurushji, why should they not? They too will progress, though the advance may be slow. A realized soul has the power to mold the disciple's mind, and in a few days he can turn his mind towards spirituality. The power of a mantra that has brought success to anyone is irresistible when imparted to another, and particularly is it so when it comes through a guru who is himself a realized soul. The Master used to say that when the Guru is perfect, the disciple's egoism vanishes after only 3 crooks. 3 crooks is a reference to Sri Ramakrishna's parable of the snake and the frog. If the frog is caught by an ordinary snake, it goes on croaking for a long time. Neither can the frog escape, nor can the snake swallow it soon. But when caught by a poisonous snake, the frog has hardly time to croak even 3 times. So that is about the croak. So he says the disciple's egoism vanishes after only 3 crooks. But if the guru is not perfect, the disciple's bondage is not removed and he does not attain liberation. But Mahapurushji was an advanced soul and he was a guru who had realized God, who had lived with God. So of course, we understand that he was such a guru who could really uplift the human mind. Hope you are enjoying these episodes. Do stay tuned to Devakshar, like and share our videos, and do not forget to subscribe to our channel. Thank you so much for being with us.